Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boscheman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive Podcast. I don't know how we got here, but September has arrived. So this year has seemed to go by really, really quickly, but here we are in September. And so we're going to take a look at the individual life path numbers, the forecast for September 2023 in this episode. Before we get into that, this, of course, is a general reading. If you would like a personalized reading, please book some time with me. My information is in the description box below. I would love to take a look at your personal numerology and let you know what I see. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Life path number 5. So I pulled an animal wisdom message for September for you all, and you got giraffe energy. And giraffe energy is very similar to that of the 8 of Pentacles. And so there's definitely something here coming in around like mastery or expertise or like sort of perfecting your craft, which of course means that you would have to focus your energy. And sometimes that can be a little bit difficult for fives, only because a lot of times with 5 energy, because it's such big energy, it can be scattered. So there's typically a ton of ideas coming in all the time, right? It's a very creative energy, but there's a lot of ideas coming in. And sometimes the 5 can struggle with sort of dedicating itself to one or two things and really focusing its energy on whatever that is and seeing it through to completion. Because a lot of times with 5 energy, we can get bored really easily, especially if we're not seeing results right away. And so with giraffe energy coming through and with the numerology that you all are working with this month, which is 3 energy, very creative, very much like moving that creative life force through you to create something within the physical. There's definitely something here about choosing like 1 or 2 things that really speak to you this month, that really like hold your attention, committing to it and seeing it through to completion, even if it becomes difficult to do so, right? Like a lot of times I would say like, continue to stick with it if your heart's in it, but if your heart's not in it, release it. But with 5 energy, I would say there's definitely something here, especially this month, where what you commit to this month, really try to see it through to completion, even through the lulls, like even when you're not seeing the results or you're feeling like nothing's happening or you're starting to get bored with it, right? Don't give up on it too quickly, whatever it is, because there's really this strong energy here about really mastering something or really perfecting your craft in a way where it's uniquely yours and it's allowing you to creatively express yourself, but that oftentimes doesn't happen quickly, and we often don't see results from that quickly. So there's definitely something here with, you might have to start off as like the apprentice, as the student, so to speak. And sometimes that can be frustrating, especially with this big 5 energy that you kind of hold at your core, because, it's such an expansive energy and it wants to experience and it wants to go, right? And so it would be easy to sort of get bored quickly. So I would say if there's something that keeps coming in for you, I don't know, like for instance, let's say that you wanted to like learn the violin, right? And so you start learning it, you pick it up and you start to learn it and you're taking classes, but you don't really see, you're not a professional violinist after a month. And so you're like, what's the point? So you give it up and you move on to the next thing, the next big idea. But the reality of it is, if you would have dedicated your time and energy to it and seen it through to fruition, you could have done potentially great things with that mastery, right? So there's just something here about really focusing that big energy that you hold into your top, I would say 1 or 2 or 3, if that makes you feel more comfortable, big ideas, and then really commit to it and really see it through to completion. And if it doesn't work out, or if after you complete it, you're like, this is not for me. Okay. But you've completed it, right? There's no question. So Yeah, I would say that's definitely coming in very, very strongly for you all this month. And like I said, you're working with 3 energy in September. So this can be a great time to collaborate, to travel, to experience new cultures or new, new perspectives. And through that, and that's not something that's, outside the norm for a 5 typically. Like typically 5s are all about, expansion and growth and freedom and understanding and thinking outside the box and all of those things. If you're not too into your sort of shadow side of being overly restrictive. So with this 3 energy coming in, when we have the 3 and the 5 together, this is, first of all, can be a very fun energy, a very social, very much like put yourself out there, meet new people, experience new things, gain new perspectives, get new ideas, all of these things, right? Like experience life again with all of your senses, which is such a big part of 5 energy. So we couple that again with the 3, and the 3 brings the opportunity to experience new things and new people and share ideas. Also, there's something here about your communication and the way that you communicate. So if there's any area where there's been a breakdown of communication, this is a great month to maybe take the initiative to start that conversation or to reframe it or look at it in a different way, right? Because if there's a breakdown in communication, then, one or both parties can do better with that communication style. And so it could be that if there's connections that have fallen by the wayside or are just not working, this is a great time to reevaluate or revisit those and see if you can't open those lines of communication. The other thing is this is a great time to launch something. So especially a creative project. So if there's anything you've been sort of thinking about or working on or working towards, this is such a great energy to put it out there, get it out into the world. And so again, I would say, if let's say that you want to start a podcast and it's something that's very unique for you, like it comes from your vision or your ideas, start it, put it out there, but stick with it, because here's that thing, right? It's like, especially with something like a social media platform, it's very rare that those just blow up overnight, right? And so, I mean, that can happen, but it's very rare. And so typically it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and continuing to show up and being consistent and not giving up, right? So committing to it. So if there's a project or something that you want to launch, if there's some kind of creative project, right? Some kind of creative output that you want to put out into the world, this is such a great month to do that for you all. So do it, but commit to it and see it through to completion. And so something like launching a podcast, right? How do you know when it's complete? Well, for that, it's like, give it enough time to see how it sort of unfolds. But, for that, it's like, if your heart's really not in it after like a while, then, just follow your gut, right? Follow your instincts. But there's definitely something here with don't give up too quick, right? Because some things, especially those things that are meant to be sustainable or to have sometimes a greater impact, can take time to build and to perfect and to sort of get into your groove. So just don't give up too quickly. That's really kind of the keynote message that's coming through for September for you all. But also don't be afraid to launch something that's uniquely yours, that's very, has your creative flair attached to it, because that's what's going to make it stand out. That's what's going to make it different from sort of everything else that's out there. So make sure that it's got your unique touch to it, and don't be afraid to collaborate and work with others to help, allow them to help you to get something off the ground. That's also big energy this month as well. So this is such a beautiful energy for you all this month, especially with the 3. The other thing is, have fun while you're doing it. Like, try not to be too overly restrictive or too sort of overly critical on yourself or others, but just have fun. And again, when the 5 and the 3 get together, that's not entirely difficult to do. So, don't go overboard. Make sure you keep it in moderation. But yeah, this is such a great time to really focus your creative juices this month and see what you can, just put out into the world and put your name behind. So I hope it's a beautiful, creative month for you all. Take care, 5s. Bye for now.